let's review this then. Picked it up from auction quite a fair few weeks ago. When I saw it, I just wanted it because I've not had an Nextra for a while, but more so, this is one with the display. It's also a range 5, which means it's a later on version of the Nextra. Like, just to give you some context, by the time this was kind of out, the range 5, you would have had a lot of the Visions out as well. They would have been starting to take over quite a lot. Right, so the model number is HNL71463D. That's the giveaway of how old it is, because it's got 5 numbers rather than 4 numbers. It comes with a 6 kilogram load and 1400 spin, as well as, and I think it's definitely an A energy rated machine, A wash rated machine, and B spin. However, I've got a feeling that it may have been an A plus energy rated. Not too sure, but yeah, because that information has kind of disappeared now over time, I can't really state correctly. At the bottom, we've got our kick plate. It's a little bit broken on this side, but if I push down, there we go. Behind that, we've got our coin filter. Undo the screw on that, pull it out, and you can empty it. There is obviously a video already on the channel on how to do that. Right, we've got the Hoover embossed onto the door handle here, but the actual door handle sits behind here, and you pull it towards you, and it goes actually into the recess. It's our 6 kilogram drum. It's basically the 5 kilogram drum that's been carried over from the 6. Weirdly, this is the old style one. Some of these Nextras did have the newer style at points. A little bit of mould. Occasionally we've got a little bit of spider degradation, but so far it's holding up. That will possibly from the previous life. It's not too bad now since I've cleaned it out. There we go. We've got our racing plate there at the top with our serial number. Actually, it's nice that this hasn't faded. A lot of these will always tend to fade. Off at the top position, turn it either way to turn it on. There we go. Our display is now lit up. Got our Hoover badge actually in the lid here. That is actually really nice to have. Right, so we'll start off. We've got cotton with a pre-wash. We've also got colours. Both of these are cotton programs. They both take on 6 kilograms. But obviously cotton with a pre-wash and coloured is basically cotton without a pre-wash. Cotton with a pre-wash. The pre-wash takes place, and we'll do that at 30 degrees before draining, then going on to the main wash. The cotton cycles do also a load detect. In fact, actually load detection takes place on cotton, colours and synthetics with the auto half load. I'm doing that because it's not actually half load. It will detect up to 4 different sides of loads and then will adjust accordingly. With, I think, with smaller loads actually deleting a rinse. It naturally does 3 rinses, but it will only do 2 rinses if less than half load is selected. It will also lower the water level further if the load is like a quarter load, or say a 3/4 load. So it does take that into account. It will also shorten the wash time and all that. So it's really good. But the only downside, the only gripe with it is how it's kind of set, and I'll kind of go through that in a minute. To get a full load, you kind of have got to fairly ram the machine full. If it's not quite full, it's going to default to most of the time 3/4 full. Right, so we have our spin speed over here, 14 with 2 little O's there. You can lower it in 100 RPM steps to 400 RPM. These buttons have never been great, and when I say never been great, I mean on any Hoover. There we go. Obviously 0 is no spin, and will cancel all the intermediate spins as well as the final spin. Then we've got Stain Blaster, which works on the cottons and synthetics programs. What that will do is, normally you've got a certain wash profile, but what Stain Blaster does is changes that wash profile to be much more intense, and in doing so removes stains without affecting the wash time. What Sensitive Care does, it's made for washing clothes for people with delicate and sensitive skin. Effectively, it ups the rinse count from 3 to 5, but on top of that, will raise the water levels on them rinses too. I'll demonstrate it to you. In fact, I'm going to demonstrate a lot of it to you in a minute. Then we've got Delay Start. Which goes up to 24 hours, I believe. There you go. And that's Delay Start, so you set how many hours you want it before the cycle begins. Then we've got obviously Variable Temperature. If you press it, this LED will come on to basically say you've deviated from the temperature it's normally preset at. In the manual, it also states that you must select the temperature before you select this wash time, and that's simply because if you notice, when we select 90, that's already preset at, it's at medium. Once you select 60 and below, it goes to the light setting. That's because 90 only has the medium and max settings. So it's just to avoid that little bit. On any other program, because temperatures can be selected with all the wash times, it won't actually affect it as you're changing it. Right. Then we got Fast Iron, which is not applicable on the cotton programs. I'll explain what that does on the other ones. Start pause, and then you got Wash Time, which is available on the cottons and synthetics programs. So what this allows you to do is change the length of the wash depending on how soiled your clothes are. More heavily soiled, the longer the wash program you want. Like I said, with 90, we've only got 2 settings. With 60 and below, we've got 3. Bearing in mind, that's 1 hour 57 including a pre-wash with a full load. So once you put a small load in, that time's going to massively drop. For example, temperature doesn't drop the wash length. So what the machine does, it will heat normally to the set temperature, and then will periodically come on and off during the rest of that main wash till the end of the main wash. Alright, colours. Presets at 60. Obviously no pre-wash, so it's made for washing a full load of cottons. But interestingly, if you select 60 followed by this wash length, you will get your cotton standard Eco 60 program for this machine. And what that will also do is lower the rinse count from 3 to just 2. Just on that. Oh, and only if it detects a full load. If it doesn't detect a full load, it will kind of just do a normal 60 program. If you select any of the options, for example Stain Blaster, you'll notice the time's now jumped up, because now it's no longer doing the Eco standard 60, it's just doing a normal 60 program. Same with like sensitive care and stuff. Also, if we change the temperature, it's 2 hours 46. So yeah, that's it. That runs a normal 40-degree program. So there we go. So we've got cold. I'll just show you as well. So that's the temperature wash length for them. If I do it at 60, there you go. Yeah. If I select Stain Blaster now, no, because we're on light and medium, which is the normal 60-degree program, it doesn't change the time. So you can have cotton's coloured 60 main wash at 60 degrees by selecting Stain Blaster. How cool is that? Right. This program, you can have Stain Blaster, you can have sensitive care, you can change the temperature, again, no fast iron. All the wash time settings are there as well. Max load is 6 kilograms. Alright, next. Synthetics. Right, Stain Blaster is not available on synthetics. Sensitive care is. That doesn't, though, increase the amount of rinses, but it will increase how much water's in the rinses. So it's still 3 rinses, just more water. Presets at 60, but that also can be changed. I love these LEDs. I love the fact that, you know, instead of going for one colour, cold is green, 90 is red, and same with the wash time here as well. And again, the wash time can also be increased depending on how heavily soiled they are. The one thing it does have though on this program is fast iron. Now what fast iron does is ends with a very, very short spin. It says at 800 RPM, ignore that, fast iron only spins at 250 RPM, and that's it. So they will pretty much be near enough soaking wet. Another thing to mention, synthetics, of course, is 800 RPM. Now, here's my gripe with this machine. It has a load sensor in it, but the max load is 2 kilograms. But if I wash 2 kilograms, which is one set of bedding, it will still reduce the time by quite a lot. I'm not kidding, you can do synthetic 60 with a small load in about 50 minutes. Yeah. And unfortunately, that means that I can't really get it to do a proper length cycle, not without effectively overloading for the synthetics program. I have to put about 4 kilos in to make it sense a full load. Right, then we've got the Delicates program. It's also known as the Acrylics program. So, you know, stuff like this. Stuff that is labelled with the double dash but just isn't wool can also go on this program. Washes at 40, which can be reduced. No wash time. No sensitive care or Stain Blaster. It's only set at 400 RPM. It's a short, slow spin. Does 3 rinses with no intermediate spins. We've also got the fast iron. Now what that will do is effectively rinse hold. So at the end of the final rinse, once this starts flashing, it's in rinse hold mode. To continue, just simply press the fast iron button and it will go and do the short final spin. Then we've got rinse and spin. Again, you can have fast iron if you wish. Effectively, it's synthetics rinses, 3 rinses with a short synthetics final spin at 800. Again, you can have sensitive care and raise that water level. Then we've got spin only, 12 minutes long. It's a cotton's length final spin, up to 1400. You can reduce that spin speed if you wish. Then we've got drain only. Again, if for whatever reason, instead of wanting to spin the garments at the end, you just want to drain off the water and take them out soaking wet, or for whatever reason there's an emergency with the machine and you need to get stuff out, turn to drain only, turn it on, it will drain for about, like it says, 4 minutes there, and then just switch off. Then we've got silk. It ends with no spin, drain only. It's made for washing 1.5 kilo. At 30 degrees, it's got very sort of short, it's sort of got gentle tumbles with a high water level. It's made for also washing, basically, see here, it's a little bath with hand, meaning hand wash items. So anything labelled with the hand wash can also go in this program. Of course, stuff's going to come out soaking wet. You can select fast iron, and effectively that is rinse hold. Just to also mention, it says an hour 3, it takes around 40 minutes. Just to also mention, delicates over here, max load 1.5 kilo, it says an hour 8, and it actually takes around about 50 minutes. Then we've got the wool cycle. Don't think that this is just the silk program, but with a spin. It's not. They're completely different. This has very short, gentle tumbles, but they're a lot more frequent than the silk. And then, of course, it ends with an 800 spin. The max load for wool is 1 kilogram. It presets at 40, and that can be lowered. You can have fast iron, which, of course, is just rinse hold. You can lower the spin if you wish. Then we've got the sports program. It washes at 30. It's made for washing 2.5 kilograms of synthetic sportswear. It's 2 hours 21. Right. It states in the manual it does 2 rinses. It doesn't. It does 3 rinses. And the manual also states it does a pre-wash, which is correct. It does a cold pre-wash. It's rather short. It will sense the load during the pre-wash. The cotton's pre-wash also does that, by the way. But then we'll wash for about 5 minutes in cold water before draining and then going on to the main wash. The main wash is very odd as well. So it will fill, then it will heat, and then it will fill with more water, and then it will go into a soak phase for an hour. The other problem with this program is just exactly like synthetics. You have to kind of get to fairly full, which is basically overloading for that program, to get it to sense a full load, which is really annoying. If it doesn't sense a full load, it doesn't really do the soak phase. So yeah. Then we've got Rapid 29. This allows you to wash 2 kilograms of cotton or synthetics that are lightly soiled in 30 minutes at 40 degrees. Yeah, if you notice it says 29 there and it says 30 minutes, that's because Candy used the 30 minute and Hoover were allocated the 29 minute denotation. That also being said, it's a little bit of a change from the previous ones, because it used to be a speed 39 and a rapid 32. So they have changed it. Yeah, so effectively 30-minute wash, short 800 spin. It's a synthetic spin anyway, so it's not too bad. It does 2 rinses instead of 3. The wash length's actually about 15 minutes long, so it's not too bad. And it will heat to 40 in that time, thanks to its quite powerful heater in this. Our detergent drawer. It's got the word Nextra written on the front. Now, anyone who's a keen-eyed viewer might have spotted something wrong. And they may have spotted it in other videos too. Well, not right now. On my other channel, you may see it. That is supposed to be on the drawer. It's a piece of plastic. It goes there to make it look pretty. But unfortunately, it has fallen off. It doesn't really do anything. Because this is kind of rough now under here, I suppose it's to stop you cutting yourself. We've got our detergent drawer split into 3 compartments. If you're running the carton with a pre-wash or the sportswear program, you have to put detergent in both sides, this side and this side. If you're running any other program, you just put detergent into the big compartment here. Right, detergent level maximum on the main wash is 200ml. The detergent level for the pre-wash is 100ml. And fabric softener, yeah, that barely filled it. Because the max level for fabric softener is 200ml. Which is a lot. Even back when this was released. Concentrated fabric softeners were pretty much all the rage by then. So the normal diluted stuff that we've had for years have pretty much kind of disappeared at this point. But if you're still using diluted stuff, you could happily put in enough fabric softener from any brand and it won't even touch the max fill line. That of course though means that people will excessively fill this up with fabric softener. Alright, colours. 40. Right, this isn't flashing by the way, it's just how the camera reacts. Start. Uh-oh. I'm just saying uh-oh because it's got the slight smell of basically burnt spider to it, which meant that a bit more of the spiders come away. So annoyingly, it's not going to be long till it goes. Oh no. But we'll keep it going for now, for as long as possible. Right, so what's I give this out of 10 then? Well, couple of issues. To be fair, when I say a couple of issues, it's quite good actually. It's quite flexible. The only downside is that if you want a 90-degree cottons, you can't have it without having a pre-wash first. But that also being said, if you're doing a pre-wash, then you more than likely need to soak said items. So pre-wash would help. That's fine. Trying to get it to a sensible load can be quite hard. Almost you have to overload it on certain programs like synthetics and sports. That annoys me, but it has got a load sensor. It does vary it quite a lot as well. I do like sensitive care. That's probably why some of the spider may have come away a little bit. Back to downsides. It's actually something they cured later on. So if you were to get a lower model, you would end up with rapid 29, 44 and 59 minute programs. Now, that could have been implemented on the machine, right? Instead of putting rapid 29 here, just put rapid and then use the wash time to then get the 44 and 59 minute variants. But they didn't. However, later Hoovers then did implement it when the 14 minute wash decided to roll around. They decided to then use that as 14, 30 and 44 minutes, which is fine, and it's nice that they did that. But back then you would have got more programs to a degree, getting the lower model, as well as the lower model would also have a synthetics with a pre-wash, which this doesn't have. So in a weird way, yeah, this is not quite as good as the lower model. But because obviously it gives you all that flexibility of how long you want the wash, because that is what you're actually essentially paying for with this upper model, not necessarily the time display, which you do also get, you are paying for the wash time. The variable temperature, variable spin and the options were all standard on the lower models. Reliability, yeah, drum spider, that's slowly disintegrating. I mean, this is quite a fair bit on, so considering how it's done well, normally they disintegrate a lot faster than that. These Nextras were horrible for disintegrating with spiders. Bearings as well, they can easily go, because it's that generation tub in it, unfortunately. Yeah, washing ability, it's fairly good and fairly poor all at the same time. Because of this load sensing, if it senses a small load, if you select something like 60 or 90, it may never end up getting towards them temperatures. Especially on synthetics. You can select synthetics or light soil or medium soil, and you end up putting in what is essentially 2 kilogram load, but it thinks it's only 1 kilogram load. It then only hits around 30 or 40 degrees. Wash ability of removing stains is fairly good, but again only on the longer cycles. More than likely you would need a stain blaster to try and at least try and make it do something. Rinsing, it's rather good considering how low the levels are. These were considered bad in the day, but considering what stuff is nowadays, this is quite good. Spin performance is excellent, not just as a 1400, but overall. It is fairly quiet. The motor is fairly quiet on this generation. It's going to get 7.5 out of 10. The drum issue is a big issue. It can, the buttons at the top can break. Not necessarily the buttons, but usually the shroud that it sits in breaks. But this later on version doesn't have anywhere near as many problems as the older Nextras. So they have been ironed out in that sense. Definitely no real glitches or anything like that. I do kind of like it, but it is going to break. Right, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this review. Don't forget to comment down below, and I'll see you in another video. So, bye for now.